Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for being here. I hope there is someone left upstairs. So we're gonna talk about the MCP server, whatever that is. If you don't know about it, don't worry because Petteri is gonna do a great introduction. So all yours, Petteri.
All right, thank you. So things are about to get a little condensed for a couple of minutes, but hang in there. Alex is going to do an exciting demo right after. So MCP was introduced 1 year ago by Anthropic, the company behind Claude models. And it stands for Model Context Protocol and has gained quite a remarkable adoption in 1 year only. MCP aims primarily to provide AI agents a standard and portable way to integrate with external systems, and to make agents more predictable by standardizing the discovery and use of tools and resources in the model's context. While MCP itself is model agnostic, it's mostly used with LLMs. So let's take a quick look at how large language models work and see where and how MCP makes the difference. At the very core, LLMs are trained to do just one thing: predict the next token based on the previous ones. And that's it. So no understanding, just probability distributions. While capable of producing incredibly creative and even useful outputs, there are known issues. Like hallucinations, the output can be unreliable. Also, LLMs cannot interact with the outside world to, for example, get information available only after their knowledge cutoff day. So if you ask LLM for the current weather, it cannot do it by itself. So to tackle these issues, a feature called tools, also called as function calling, was introduced by OpenAI in 2023. And the models were now trained so that to solve a question, they could use an external function call or tool to get an answer. And that was the birth of what are called AI agents nowadays. So generally, agentic systems can both think and act. Now an agent could, for example, use external calculator function to crack math problems. But how do those work? If thinking about what actually happens when asking LLM for something, it turns out that LLMs don't remember a thing. They don't have a memory. Every single time I ask LLM for something, I have to pass our entire discussion history to it for it to know what we were talking about. And for that purpose, we use context. The context can be thought as a kind of encyclopedic text document. It contains all the contextual information we want to give the LLM about our topic to produce an answer. So it contains my question, the chat history, system instructions, but most importantly to our topic here, the context also carries the tools. So when I make a request to LLM, the system builds a context, and that is what gets sent to the model. And here's an example of how a simple context payload could look like. So we have there our chat history, there is a system instruction, but let's zoom into the tools array. And if you can see there, it contains a plate of function definitions or skeletons. So how does this work? If I ask my AI agent, for example, to solve 1 + 1, the LLM would pick the sum function from the context from this list. It would tell the agent to execute it on its side and to come back when it has the result. And finally, the LLM would phrase a pretty answer back to the user. And now we are at the core. So MCP is a protocol. So it's a communication standard that defines how tools, data resources, and agent capabilities are discovered, described, and consumed through the model's context. And underlining, it's a communication protocol. MCP doesn't change anything in the models or in the tool concept as such. So let's have a quick look at the MCP architecture. It consists of 3 main pillars. The MCP host, it's my agent application. It can be a Camunda or an N8N workflow, VS Code, command line interface, etc. MCP client is the guy doing the heavy work for the most parts. It discovers the tools and resources in the MCP server. delivers those to the model's context, and dispatches tool call requests to the server. And also it delivers the results back to the model and everything in a standardized format. And MCP Server, it provides the tool implementations, resources, prompts, and it can run locally or remotely over HTTPS. And here's a concrete code example in Java, how an AI agent told the model about the tools before MCP. So, and you can see here like a math tool class, and it is having one single tool there, the sum function. And in the red box, we statically and imperatively declared these tools to the agent. And one problem here was, in addition to this static nature, that every agent or framework could have a different way of serializing these classes to the model's context. But MCP uses a provider model instead, and MCP clients acting as tool providers. So the agent itself doesn't know about the individual tools or classes, but leaves it up to the model and MCP client to negotiate them. And here you can see in the red box that we only provide the tool provider to the AI agent. And this is, by the way, LangChain example. And here's a simple request flow example. So I'm having my AI agent in the middle. So what happens now when I call my agent? The client discovers the tools first. Server provides the list of tools. Now when I ask LLM what's 1 + 1, the tools are now in the context. The LLM picks there the sum tool. MCP client dispatches this execution request to the MCP server. We get the result back to the LLM, and it formulates the final answer. How about agent application architecture? Here's an example of how an agent could have looked like before MCP. And the integration code is written inside the agent. But with MCP, the integration code lives outside of the agent, having its own life cycle. This means that MCP makes the integrations portable and reusable, so you can write the MCP server once and use from anywhere, with any language, with any model. And one cool thing is that MCP servers can be plugged into a variety of hosts. By adding this kind of config file, for example, I can use VS Code as a chat interface to Liferay. And Alex will show something cool in a minute. So MCP is a game changer for AI agents' integratability. Whatever popular commercial system I want to integrate to, there is likely already MCP server available. So one directory, for example, lists around 17,000 community-provided MCP servers, and in 1 year only. So for the AI agent development, MCP, it means shorter time to market and lower costs. And now, Alex will talk about Liferay's MCP server and does a cool demo.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, it's there. Cool. So thank you, Petteri, for the deep explanation. I hope now it's clear the problem the MCP server is trying to solve, and it's actually solving. And now I'm going to describe a little bit the implementation we've built in Liferay that will be available, I think, in Q4 release as beta. I will describe how it works, and then we will see a demo. Okay, so as Petteri showed in the last slide, we've built an MCP server that works over server-sent events. Okay, there are different transports. Ours works over server-sent events and exposes essentially every REST API in Liferay. So anything you can do with a REST API, you can do with an MCP server. Which is very simple but very powerful at the same time. Okay, we will see an example later. For the moment, we support authorization through HTTP headers. There's support for OAuth coming for the next year, but it's not ready yet. And it's a servlet. For those of you that know Java, it's not that hard. If you have Liferay, you have that endpoint, MCP SSE, you just need to enable a feature flag, and it will work. And this is the internals, okay? So Petteri talked a little bit about how MCP works. Essentially, it's based around tools. There are more things, but we're going to focus here on the tools. So the Liferay MCP server has 3 tools, okay? Just that. The get open APIs used for discovery, so it works in a 3-phase process. So it will first discover what Liferay can offer with this get open APIs tool that will essentially return, hey, these are all the APIs available, and these are the links to the open API descriptor. Then there is the understanding part. Once we ask something to the MCP server, it knows the APIs available, it picks one of them, and it will get the open API descriptor. And then, once it knows what to do with it, it will actually call the specific endpoints, okay? If we say, hey, list me the users, first it will go get open APIs, look for headless admin user, then it will fetch the open API for headless admin user, and it will find that to get users, there is a get endpoint that returns a list, and it will use it, okay? So it's that simple. Every endpoint is available by default. You don't need to do anything. So the demo, this is where things can get very right or very wrong. I hope you are understanding if something goes wrong. Okay, so what are we going to show? We're going to develop an entire application using AI and Liferay's MCP server. I'm not going to touch any single line of code. I'm not even going to touch the UI of Liferay, okay? Everything is going to be done through the MCP server. We're going to implement a data model with objects. We're going to create a widget page, and we will then collect some data and see what happens. What will it be? So, welcome to the Liferay quiz. We're going to build a quiz application that will test how much you know about Liferay, and there will be prizes for the winners, okay? So, follow me. This one for later. So, I'm going to use is it good that way? Yeah. So, first of all, I'm going to show you a little bit the repository. It's very simple. I have a Liferay workspace with the latest nightly, and I have settings for different AIs. We're going to use Gemini CLI, okay, very hard to say. The command line interface from Gemini, if you were yesterday in the talk by the Google guy, he was using the same, okay? So if I go to Gemini, there is a settings file in which, as Petteri described, I'm configuring the MCP server of Liferay. This is the authorization header, basically test@liferay.com password test. So everything that the MCP is doing is going to do it on behalf of the admin user in this case, but it could be any user you want. So this is what tells Gemini in this case how to connect to Liferay. Then I have this file where I describe a little bit what we're going to do, but I'm going to keep that for myself. If we wanted to do this with VS Code, that we might do later, it's a very similar file, same configuration, and that's all you need, okay? So I have, of course, a Liferay instance running, a clean instance, and let me sit here so I can look at your faces. Okay. Good. So I'm going to run Gemini CLI. Fingers crossed that Cloudflare is not down or anything like that. Okay, so far so good. This is Gemini CLI. It's already giving us some clues. It has loaded the Liferay agent MD file where I give some clues to what it should do. And it identified one MCP server, okay? So let's start building our application to build the quiz, and then let's play. I have here a little script. So this is the first prompt that I'm going to give it, and I will explain it. I don't want to type that much. But essentially, I'm asking, hey, you just know about the MCP server, okay? Create an object definition called Liferay quiz response that has a mandatory field for the name of the responder, that would be your names, and an optional field for each of the following questions. Well, questions, sorry. So there are a bunch of questions in the quiz, and we're gonna hit enter. So now, what you're gonna see is that if everything goes well, it takes a while, but it's gonna start using those tools that I told you before. Look, it's asking me for permission. It wants to get all the open APIs, as I said before in the graphic. That's the first step, is discovering what's available. So I'm gonna give it permission to continue. Well, let's do it step by step better. So yes, allow once. Okay, so look, you could see it barely, but essentially that's the path of each API and the URL to its open API. So you see, it's trying to go to object admin. It knows where an object definition it must be created. And it's asking me to get the full open API. I'm going to say allow once. It loaded the open API into the context. It's analyzing it to understand what is there. There's no prior knowledge. And it's asking me, hey, I want to call an HTTP endpoint. This is the third tool that I showed you. Now it's trying to make an action on the system. Now I'm going to give it full permissions to go forward because there are more things that are going to happen. And it failed. Nice. But look, it could understand the error. I don't even know what the error was, but it could understand it, and it created the object definition. If I go now to Liferay, I sign in. I promise this is totally real. I didn't preload any data or anything. There should be here, control panel, Liferay quiz responses. So we have the object definition, still no answers. I can go to the object's admin UI, click here, and we see all the fields. There is a field for each of the questions and the responder name. So it did what we told it to do. It's still doing some stuff. We need to adjust some permissions so that you guys can now connect. So this is the magic behind in that agent.md file that I told you. So if everything goes well, it should add the permission. Sometimes it fails and it understands the problem and it tries to fix it. Let's see if this is the case. Now it's searching for the role permission endpoint to actually assign permissions to the guest role and see if everything goes well. Okay, still failing. Okay, seems that something happened now. Investigating patch behavior, looks it's going in the right direction. Still error. Don't worry, let's give it another chance. If not, I can do this step manually. It's Gemini's fault anyway, so not Liferay's fault. Okay, final permission test. Let's see if it can get it right this time. It looks like it did. Nice. Success. Cool. Hold on. This is just the beginning. So all this, I'm going to explain you what happened behind the scenes. So the guest role needs this little check here. So it's checked. That means that it worked. I didn't touch anything in the UI, okay? Everything is happening through the MCP. So now I'm going to ask it to create a page called quiz with the object definition widget in it. That's all I'm saying. Is brewing fresh bites. Okay. Get open APIs again. Now we will probably do get open API and then call HTTP endpoint. Those are the only 3 tools that we provide. Get open API, headless admin site. Now it's understanding how that API looks like, and now we'll get into action. Cool. Seems to be working. Takes a while. I'm sorry, guys, but it's gonna be worth it. Behind the scenes now is trying to create a widget page, but for that it needs to find out the ID of the company and the ID of the object definition, so it's probably doing some extra calls, but so far it's going well. It was faster yesterday for me, but okay, that looks good. Okay, cool. Let's go and see if it actually worked. I'm going to go to the Liferay. Oh, there is a quiz page, and it has the responses widget. Good. So now everything is ready. Please connect. Oh, no. Are people getting ngrok issues? Is it working for someone? Okay, so there are people that have it working. It says in 1 minute I will get less a better limit. I paid for ngrok, and they are letting me down. I knew the server was going to crash. Okay, let's see if any responses are coming. Anybody is filling the quiz? It's not loading. Yeah, it's the ngrok. Let me refresh it and see if... Okay. I'm trapped. I think we have to wait 1 minute, guys. Someone is, it seems it's loading for someone. What's the problem now? Okay, no problem. Okay, so we will do it together. Anybody knows where was DEF CON last year? Budapest, okay. Which Liferay framework is the new export-import foundation? Batch, okay. Which tool is used to create the headless APIs? REST Builder, good. What's the name of Liferay mascot's dog? Ray? Okay, Ray, no, you said Ray. Which tool is used to create Liferay workspaces? Blade. Good. And there's a guy responding right. You, what's your name? I can't spell that. Y-O-G? E-S-H. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay, when was Liferay founded, you guys? 2001, okay. And who founded it? You sure? This is unexpected. No problem, no problem. So I have some answers already. Good. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm gonna do something. Let's let Gemini participate as well in the context. So I'm going to load Gemini again, and I'm going to say, hey Gemini, submit an answer for the quiz. Let's see if you guys are better than Gemini or not. No, hold on. This is not what I want. It's cheating, yes. It's cheating. Do not open any file, please. No, it should work. Yeah, I think there is a problem with the object definition in some way. But let me try again. Hey, for the Liferay quiz using, I'm gonna give it more clues, the API, the MCP server. Okay, good. Same process as before. I'm gonna give it full permissions. It should now identify, look, Liferay quiz responses API. Again, the answers, come on. It's cheating. Okay, whatever. Okay, I think it's gonna win. We have Gemini's response here. And now tell Gemini, hey, now get all the responses and build a ranking based on correct answers.
Human versus machine.
So look, it went and grabbed them, and now it's developing the scoring algorithm. Nice. Yes, allow once. Oh, come on, he's searching on Google how to fix his crappy script. No problem, no problem. Just output, no code needed. Yes, output text. They have to see this. Yeah, I know. Okay, so Jogesh, you are the winner. You will get a prize that I have here, okay? So thank you very much, guys.